History is often shaped by wars, revolutions, and powerful leaders, but sometimes history changes in silence. No speeches, no warnings, no time to prepare, just a moment where one human being must decide what happens next. January 2009 began like any other winter day in New York. Airports were busy, flights were routine, passengers were thinking about meetings, vacations, and returning home. No one expected that within minutes, a routine flight would become one of the most extraordinary survival stories in modern aviation, and no one knew that a single decision, made in just seconds, would save 155 lives. U.S. Airways Flight 1549 prepared for takeoff from LaGuardia Airport. Everything was normal. Passengers fastened their seatbelts. Flight attendants moved through the aisle. Pilots completed final checks. Inside the cockpit sat Captain Chesley Sullenberger, a veteran pilot with decades of experience. He had trained for emergencies his entire career, but training is theory. Reality arrives without warning. At 3:24 p.m., the plane lifted into the cold winter sky, climbing smoothly. Everything was routine, until it wasn't. The impact minutes after takeoff, the aircraft struck a flock of birds. The sound was violent. Passengers heard a loud thud. The engines roared, then fell silent. Both engines had failed, completely. Inside the cabin, confusion spread. Inside the cockpit, something far more serious happened. Time started running out. A commercial aircraft without engine power becomes a glider. It cannot climb. It cannot maintain altitude. It can only descend. And below this plane was one of the most densely populated cities on Earth. New York. Understanding the situation. The cockpit filled with alarms, warning lights, error messages, system failures. Captain Sullenberger and his co-pilot assessed the situation instantly. They had lost both engines. This was almost unheard of. Standard emergency procedures assume at least one engine remains, not both. Returning to LaGuardia? Too far. Reaching another airport? Impossible. They had seconds to calculate, seconds to choose, seconds to act. The weight of decision, every decision now carried consequences. If they turned toward the city, buildings. If they delayed, altitude loss. If they panicked, chaos. Inside the aircraft were 155 people. Passengers, crew, families, workers, strangers, all depending on one cockpit. Outside the aircraft were millions more. Every choice had impact beyond the plane. Captain Sullenberger understood something immediately. There would be no perfect solution, only the least dangerous one. The last option. Looking ahead, one path remained. The Hudson River. Wide, open, clear of buildings. But landing a commercial jet on water is not routine. It is one of the most difficult maneuvers in aviation. Too steep, the aircraft breaks apart. Too shallow, it skims and flips. Precision matters, speed matters, calm matters, and time was disappearing. The moment of commitment, there comes a point where hesitation becomes more dangerous than action. Captain Sullenberger made the call. They would land on the river. No debate, no second guessing, just commitment. The aircraft turned. Passengers felt the shift. Fear spread quietly. No one knew exactly what was happening, but everyone felt something was wrong. Inside the cabin, flight attendants moved quickly. Their training took over. Instructions were given. Brace positions, emergency readiness. Some passengers prayed, some froze. Some looked out the window. The city rushed past below them. Closer, closer. The descent without engine power, the plane glided. Lower every second. The river came into view. Cold, wide, unforgiving. There would be no second attempt, no go-around. One chance. The landing. The aircraft approached the water. Angle mattered. Speed mattered. Balance mattered. Too much force could destroy the aircraft. Too little could cause loss of control. Then, impact. The plane struck the river surface. Hard, but controlled. The aircraft stayed intact. It didn't flip. It didn't break. It floated. Survival begins. Silence lasted only seconds. Then movement. Passengers unbuckled. Doors opened. Evacuation began. Water rushed in. Cold air flooded the cabin. People climbed onto wings. Life vests inflated. Boats nearby moved instantly. Ferries changed course. Rescue crews responded within minutes. A city watching from the shore. People watched in disbelief. An airliner. In the river. Floating. Passengers standing on wings. Rescue boats surrounding the aircraft. It didn't feel real, but it was. And every second mattered. All 155 survived one by one. Passengers were pulled to safety. Cold, shocked, alive. Not a single life lost. All 155 people survived. What could have been tragedy became a miracle. But it wasn't luck alone. It was preparation, training, calm, and one decision made at exactly the right time. Why this moment matters. This wasn't just a successful landing. It was proof that human judgment still matters in a world of automation, that experience matters, that calm under pressure can change outcomes. Captain Sullenberger didn't panic. He didn't hesitate once the decision was clear. He acted. The hero who didn't seek praise after the rescue, the world called him a hero. He didn't. He said he was doing his job. But heroism is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, professional, precise, and grounded in responsibility. What aviation learned, this incident changed aviation safety discussions. Training improved. Emergency procedures evolved. Simulations were redesigned. The event became a case study around the world, not just for pilots, but for decision-making itself. The power of preparation. Captain Sullenberger had spent years preparing for situations like this, not expecting them, but respecting the possibility. That preparation saved lives, because when the moment arrived, there was no time to learn, only time to act. The human factor. Technology supports decisions, but humans make them. Automation helps, but instinct guides. In those 208 seconds, no algorithm saved the aircraft. A human being did. The moment history changed, the aircraft eventually sank, but the story didn't. It spread across the world. People saw something rare: calm leadership in crisis, precision under pressure, a reminder that even in the most dangerous situations, survival is possible. The decision that mattered, there was no warning, no preparation time, no second chance, just seconds. And in those seconds, one person chose clarity over fear, training over panic, action over hesitation, and because of that, 155 people lived. If you had 208 seconds to decide, would you trust your training or freeze? Subscribe to this channel for more content like this.